Hi. Miles Monroe used to say that in a cemetery, he didn't only see crosses placed on tombs. He saw rather beautiful unsung songs, unwritten best-selling books, beautiful unspoken speeches. These great singers, writers, politicians took with them their talents in the afterlife because they did not have the courage to exploit them, and also because they did not have a platform to express themselves. So, inspired by the American Ebony magazine, The Voice of Blacks, the French Paris Match, The Voice of Stars, and the International Amina, The Voice of African and Caribbean women, I said to myself, give them a forum, a platform. A challenge made easy by the experience acquired throughout my professional career at A.l.M, the most popular quinoa weekly magazine of the 90s, alongside other newspapers such as Le Phare, Le Potentiel, A.l.M, Salongo, etc. So, 11 years ago, at the corner of 149 East, 38 South Street, in the Gabarone Foundation Gallery in New York, A.F magazine was born. We come today to celebrate those who were there at the beginning, those who were with us along the way up to now. So since 2010, A.F magazine has written about them. A.F interviewed them. Here are the most influential personalities of the third edition of A.F Magazine Awards 2021. Enjoy. Bonjour, bonsoir à tous. Miles Monroe disait que dans un cimetière, il ne voyait pas que des tombeaux avec des croix posées dessus, mais il voyait plutôt de belles chansons non chantées, de beaux livres non écrits et des beaux discours non prononcés. Ces grands chanteurs, écrivains, politiciens n'ont pas eu une plateforme pour s'exprimer. Alors, inspiré par trois magazines, l'américain Ebony Magazine, La Voix des Noirs, le français Paris Match, La Voix des Stars, et l'international Amina, La Voix des femmes africaines et antillaises, je me suis donné de leur offrir une plateforme. Un challenge rendu aisé par l'expérience acquise tout au long de mon parcours professionnel à la semaine, l'hebdomadaire quinoa le plus en vue, à côté d'autres magazines de ce temps-là, A.l.M, Le Phare, Le Potentiel, Salongo, etc. Ainsi, à 11 ans, au 149e East 38 South Street, à New York, A.F magazine voyait le jour. Dans la galerie Gabarone Foundation, nous venons célébrer aujourd'hui ceux qui étaient là au début, ceux qui nous ont accompagnés tout au long du parcours, ceux qui ont une cause à défendre. Depuis 2010, A.F magazine a écrit sur elle. A.F les a interviewés. Voici les personnalités les plus influentes de la 3e édition d'A.F magazine, la célébration de personnes influentes.
On August 26, 2010, there was an official launching of A.l.M magazine. The gala was located on 149 East 38th Street in New York City. The room was filled with the spirit of African diaspora, and the event boasts several high-profile attendees. The speakers didn't just want to share their personal experiences with the public. They also wanted to discuss the impact on the community and the influence that they've been having on change within the community.
The voice of Africa needs to be heard. It needs to be heard. It's time for Africa to speak about herself. It's time for Africa to define herself and tell the world who she is, but from the mouth of her children, and not be defined by others. So I'm very enthusiastic about A.l.M because I see it as a forum where the thinkers of Africa, those who have labeled and have dreams about Africa, but who do not have the means to implement, because there is the one who thinks or who saw, and there is the one who lives. And I think that we need the connection of those two things. And when I see A.l.M, I don't know what Andy has in mind, but that's what I see, a forum where people will hear the good news.
I was featured several times in Essence magazine, Vibe, Ebony, you name it, Elle, and also was a face of Target campaigns for quite a while. On TV, was a campaign model for Motrin during the Olympics. Is that they can reach out to, that they would know are here are doing these kind of things, and hopefully that will serve as inspiration for them for whatever dream they might have that is sleeping somewhere. Give them the courage and the vibe to say, it's time for me to do something. I didn't know this was happening in my community here. So this is very important.
But also because Africans, we're all about communities and we need to be together. And a book is something that you do alone. I realize that we need to do workshops and make sure that the whole community is involved in these projects. And another problem we have is electricity. I mean, I've been in my country recently, in Equatorial Guinea, and it's nothing worse than being looking soccer, and finally, suddenly the lights go off. And all this frustration with and I saw these kids going by the hotels to study for the next day because they didn't have electricity in their house.
What I want to talk about very, very briefly is really what is the resource of Africa. I am not a child of Africa, clearly. I am a student of all of the women and all of the children and all of the displaced people and all of the very courageous individuals that I have worked with across the continent who have stood up and used their own voice, like Andy is doing, to make a change within their own country and their own situation.
This idea that we're like underrepresented in the media, and my work is to have a voice and give a voice to people who don't always have an opportunity to express themselves. So that's what I do.
Which left too many tears on the sons and daughters of Africa, searching for a positive representation of who we are. But that won't happen until we as Africans take responsibility for our portrayal, because the betrayal of our friends from CBS, Fox, and CNN means that we will never see an end to these characterizations of the continent of human creation, which has to make it look like she's on her deathbed and ready for cremation. But we must show the world that our mother Africa is strong, vibrant, and defiant, because the pulse of nearly 1 billion people can never die once we take control of what the world sees. And so we can never comply with pictures painted by pessimists on TV of our homeland, because we, you and me, we are the pulse of Mother Africa, and we must now show the world how proudly.
We would like to thank Mr. Kalala for throwing this event, and New York TV1 was on hand to cover it. Witness the event.
My name is Hawa Barry Diallo, and I'm the president of Nimba Entertainment Inc. and founder, producer of the Miss Guinea North America Scholarship Pageant. And I'm truly honored to be here tonight. This is a wonderful event for the African communities, and this magazine it's gonna, I'm sure, have a great impact on the life of Africans here, because the goal is to, bring out the African, success in the diaspora. And I know for sure this magazine is gonna go a long way. And I'm honored to be part of this launching, and I say, long live Afro Impact, and I wish well, to the producer and the editor-in-chief, Andy Kalala. And really, once again, thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored to be here.
Yes, my name is Christiana Young. I'm the founder of Mysteries Jewelry. I'm a jewelry designer. I design exquisite jewelry consisted of Krobo beads. Krobo is from Ghana. Krobo beads are made from recycled glass and bottles. And I usually use mix Krobo beads with Western beads to do my jewelry designs. I think it's great. I think it's a great thing Auntie Kalala is doing, because it gives people a chance to see what Africans are doing, because people don't normally see what Africans do. So it gives, it's a voice for people from Africa, and I think it's really good. So there's a lot of talented Africans out there doing great jobs, so I think it's really good.
I'm originally from Cameroon. I live in Philadelphia, and I'm the director of the Afritude Institute. My background is in clinical psychology. I do therapy, and I've been in the US for some time. And my specialty was to kind of create a model that will be adapted to the African American and the African community, considering their cultural background and also a kind of spiritual aspect. So we do therapy with young people, adults, and etc. And I was introduced to Andy because we have something in common about making a difference, a greater impact in our community here and abroad in Africa. I wish many people came because it is time for Africa to have a voice. And I think that Afri Impact is giving African opportunity to speak for themselves and what they do that is positive, that impact Africa and Africa in the diaspora. So it was very wonderful to discover all that is done, because we do a lot of things for Africa, but we don't know each other. We don't know who is doing what. And I was very delighted to know and encouraged to know that many people are doing many things in their area of expertise, and that is making a difference.
Mr. Carlo, you are at Hershey today. Some of the kids here, some people here, I think, I'm sure, just come to see you because they heard Carlos will be there. What can you give them?
Well, you know what? It's funny because a lot of the kids hear that I'm going to be here and they're really excited about it. But the great thing is that when the races start, they're like, I don't care who's here, I want to win.
Yeah.
And they're getting to it. But a lot of their parents are really excited too. So it's just great that these kids have a chance to compete at a level that gets their families involved. The stands are full of parents and brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts. And it's just great to see them have a great family day when the kids are exercising and everyone can enjoy themselves here in Hershey.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did it on the other time. Do you think advantages you had on that time compared to this time are equals? Are they the same? You think those kids have more advantage than you have on the other time?
Well, I think kids now, you know, there are things that make their world a little easier with communication, social media, things like that, where they can keep in contact. Really, things are not very different. The track meets are very similar to what I did when I was growing up in the 70s. The parents sit in the stands, do the things they did. So it's really very similar.
Power particularly also does try, in that show, I can't say for others, try to inject the human value into this script. If you look closely, for example, one of the episodes I was in, on Power, if you don't know, I'm the funeral director. In one particular funeral scene that I have a scene alone with the woman whose sister was just killed, there's a tremendous amount of real emotional energy in that scene from the actress Elizabeth Rodriguez. And they do that to show how much that murder hurt her. You know, as opposed to just, oh, there's a funeral, bang, bang, you're dead, let's bless, you know, here we are, the Lord is with us, and we move on to the next fight. Power is a little bit different in that it tries to demonstrate this, what that kind of violence does to the other people that are hurt by it, as opposed to just glossing over the violence. I was proud to be part of that because it wasn't just bang, bang, you're dead, let's move on. How can we achieve our goal in a xenophobic society? And that's where I think the answer lies, that 5-year-old, 10-year-old children are not xenophobic. That's a taught skill, if you want to call it a skill. And if we can bring children at that age fully into a multicultural awareness, I think therein lies one of the keys to much of what Denise has devoted herself and felt like a ping pong ball going from one issue to the other. But all of those issues, I think, fall under the realm of multicultural sensitivities and awareness and international relations, and that's why my cause is bilingual education. Let me define the word xenophobia. I know that we here know what xenophobia is, but a lot of people don't. They hear the word and they don't really know what it means. It comes from Greek, and xeno means foreigner, and phobia, we know what phobia means. So this would be xenophobia is a phobia that somebody might have or fear of foreigners, foreign culture, foreign language, and anything like that. I wanted to define that because I'd like to bring in another word, not a new word. It's just as old as xenophobia. It's xenophilia, which is also from the Greek, and xeno, you know what it means. It means foreigner, but philia is the opposite of phobia. It means an interest in, a love for, a desire to. I'm going to read a definition of xenophilia. An attraction to or interest in foreign people, customs, and foreign culture. Now, if we could forget about trying to eliminate xenophobia, because you can't. It's there. You can't legislate against it. And instead focus on xenophilia, developing people's interest and love and respect for other cultures. I think then slowly we would see the demise and disappearance of xenophobia. And that's how I've lived my life. And instead of railing out against the xenophobes, I take a more positive approach and work on xenophilia, and that's why I support bilingual education and multicultural education, creating positive attitudes rather than trying to eliminate those negative attitudes that are there.
You know, when Black Panther happened, then I started getting shooed into this, you know, African warrior queen archetype, which I think is interesting. And it's not a bad archetype to be slotted into, because I think we need more imagery of Black women being strong, but not being perceived of as angry or being angry for no reason. So the warrior queen archetype, I think, is one that's really interesting and really cool, but not necessarily something that I intended. First of all, I was a stunt performer in Black Panther. I played one of the Dora Milaje, so I wasn't like one of the big stars of that film. I really just wanted the opportunity to work with Ryan Coogler. I'm a huge fan of his, and I've been following his career since the beginning. And I was just happy to be in his presence. The award that I won was an Ensemble Award. There were over 200, between 200 to 300 stunt performers who participated in that film, and the award I received was for stunt performing. But the beauty of that is the crew of stunt performers was mostly Black, and I kind of joke to myself, like, all the Black stunt performers in Hollywood ended up being in Black Panther. It just tells you how small that community is, and what an opportunity for Black Panther to highlight them and really get their names and their faces out there and their talents out there. I think for a lot of stunt performers, they are the people who are working behind the scenes to make the actors look good. So if you're jumping off of buildings, you're driving fast cars, you're doing, these cool martial art, a different type of cause that is of very, very deep interest to me is, in light of the police brutality, the racism that's occurring not just in the United States, but around the world. One thing that I am very passionate about is creating a bridge, a much stronger bridge between Africans, African Americans, and, people of the African diaspora at large. I was born in Africa. My family is African, but I grew up in the United States. And so in many ways, the older I get, the more mature I become, the more educated I become, the more passionate I am about really bridging the gap that I feel exists between these two communities. And, it's really sad for me when I hear Africans speaking negatively about African Americans, and then I hear African Americans speaking negatively about Africans, and there's so much lack of understanding, so much prejudice, and I think things have gotten better, especially in the past few years with things like Black Panther coming out and the Black consciousness kind of evolving in a certain way, but I think there's still so much work to be done there, and I'm just very passionate about bridging this gap.
We're gonna honor the dreamers of Georgia. Nous allons aussi honorer les visionnaires de l'État de la Géorgie. Ted Turner, le créateur du grand organe de presse CNN. Martin Luther King, qui a été le héros du mouvement civil américain. Jimmy Carter, l'ancien président, qui est aussi l'enfant de la Géorgie. Tyler Perry, qui a l'un des plus grands studios après les studios de Hollywood et qui transforme Atlanta en Hollywood noir, comme on dit. Mutombo Dikembe, l'ancien basketteur qui est aujourd'hui dans le mouvement social. Coca-Cola, qui est le soda le plus bu dans le monde, et Tracy Adams, qui s'est battu pour sensibiliser les Noirs à voter. En politique, nous allons reconnaître ceux qui ont changé leur pays en quelques années dans quelque chose de bien, que ce soit sur le plan judiciaire, sur le plan social, sur le plan économique. Et nous reconnaissons là le président Félix Tshisekedi.
Sans le Congo, l'Afrique ne décollera pas. Et probablement, de fil en aiguille, le Congo est en train plutôt de revenir dans le concert des nations. Au-delà de ça, c'est la deuxième fois que je foule le sol américain. La première, c'était en avril, où j'avais entamé une série de contacts avec le gouvernement américain. D'abord pour le remercier par rapport au processus électoral qui a eu lieu dans notre pays, même si ça ne s'était pas passé de manière parfaite, mais ils vont respecter le choix des Congolais et ont souhaité accompagner ceux-ci vers cette transition, cette alternance pacifique et démocratique qui fait qu'aujourd'hui, le Congo a évité le bain de sang et s'est inscrit dans la logique de toutes les nations respectueuses de leur souveraineté, mais également des droits et des libertés, c'est-à-dire la logique du développement. À travers les États-Unis, donc, je parlais au monde occidental qui a toujours été un monde composé de pays partenaires de la République démocratique du Congo depuis son indépendance, pour leur dire qu'ils peuvent compter sur le Congo, pas comme dans les relations que nous avions avant de dominer à dominant, mais plutôt dans un partenariat win-win qui va nous permettre les uns et les autres d'obtenir des avantages de nos échanges et de nos partenariats respectifs.
Nous reconnaissons également le président béninois Patrice Talon. Nous reconnaissons le président ghanéen Addo Akufo et le président sénégalais Macky Sall. Nous reconnaissons également ceux qui nous ont quittés, mais qui ont été un exemple d'une cause, qui ont défendu une cause, qui se sont donnés pour une cause, mais qui nous ont quittés malheureusement. Je cite Alain Moloto, l'adorateur de l'Éternel, Colin Powell, qui y a combattu également pour la cause noire et la cause américaine, Thomas Sankara.
Vous savez, Sankara était très critique par rapport à l'élite intellectuelle africaine. Il trouvait qu'elle était complètement aliénée et formatée par les universités occidentales, pour ne pas parler des universités françaises. Mais on ne va pas faire le monde avec des si. Sankara n'est plus là, mais les idées de Sankara sont là, elles sont plus fortes. Et je mets toujours au centre cette grande idée de Sankara. Sankara disait « Osons inventer l'avenir ». Il nous reste, nous d'Afrique, d'inventer l'avenir. Mais pour inventer l'avenir, il faut que nous libérons la France. Il faut que nous donnons son indépendance à la France, comme à la Belgique, comme à tous les colonialismes. Il faut qu'à un moment, que nous les libérons de cette attache malsaine qu'ils ont avec l'Afrique. Et puis que s'ils veulent avoir, une fois libérés, ils pourront regarder l'Afrique avec une démarche nouvelle. Mais il faut d'abord dire à la France, à tous ces pays, que l'Afrique vous donne votre indépendance. Dans la décolonisation, il y a une partie qui n'a pas été bien faite. La colonisation, c'est deux personnes, deux entités, deux pays, deux peuples qui sont en conflit. L'autre super armé, avec tout son outillage d'aliénation, et l'autre qui semble être exploité et assujetti. Mais si vous dites aux gens, on va vous décoloniser, ça veut dire que vous devez aussi vous décoloniser les premiers. Hein? C'est ce qui n'a pas été fait. Les pays comme la France, en termes d'idéologie colonialiste, la France n'est pas libérée de l'idéologie colonialiste. La Belgique non plus. Donc, il est grand temps, c'est aux Africains maintenant, avec beaucoup de générosité, de déclarer l'indépendance de la France et de déclarer l'indépendance de la Belgique et d'autres pays. Et c'est ça que ça veut dire, osons inventer l'avenir. Il faut inventer le nouveau paradigme, il faut inventer le nouveau parler africaphone. Il y a le panafricanisme de Sankara, de Kwame Nkrumah, de Lumumba, de Nasser et bien d'autres, qui est un africanisme réel, celui de la fraternité panafricaine, celle qui est généreuse et qui pense que si quelque part un Africain, un homme d'origine africaine souffre, c'est que toute l'Afrique souffre. Je pense que beaucoup de nos chefs ne font pas partie de cet panafricanisme généreux.
Nous avons également Patrice Emery Lumumba, dont les restes retourneront au Congo bientôt.
Je crois que je fais partie des hommes les plus heureux parce que je considère que je ne suis pas la seule personne qui est réconfortée. Il y a beaucoup de personnes, des milliers de personnes qui sont réconfortées avec cette nouvelle. Qu'enfin, son âme va pouvoir se reposer. Nous sommes des Bantous.
Oui.
Nous savons l'importance de cet acte. C'est le sentiment d'une action qu'on a complétée avec mes frères et sœurs. On s'est mis en dehors de tous les 60 ans, on ne réclamait pas ça. On essayait de survivre, d'étudier, ainsi de suite, mais ça fait quand même une dizaine d'années que nous sommes en procès, en lutte pour que la justice soit faite, et parmi cette justice, c'est la restitution du corps de notre héros national. Puis très jeune, on nous disait que la version qui était qu'on a mis son corps dans l'acide, ainsi de suite, qu'on a grandi, qu'il n'y avait absolument rien. Et qu'on découvre que après autant d'années, il reste quand même quelque chose.
Oui.
Et le symbolisme chez nous, Africains, Bantous, c'est quelque chose de très important. Important pour faire le deuil, important pour se libérer, important pour que moralement, que ce soit pas seulement une âme qui erre, mais dans le côté physique. C'est vrai que Lumumba lui-même, il s'est défini comme une idée, que le Congo l'a façonné et il essaierait à sa manière de façonner le Congo. Et en quelque sorte, il a parvenu un peu. Ça pouvait intellectuellement nous dire une idée, elle n'a pas un corps, mais en tant qu'enfant biologique, c'était quelque chose aussi important. C'est satisfait.
Après le procès de l'assassinat de Thomas Sankara, mais c'est déjà le procès de Lumumba, parce que Lumumba nous s'est révélé dans la maison, dans le pays de ces assassins. Il nous dit, venez me chercher. C'est notre parent, c'est notre grand homme. Alors, le président Tshisekedi a dit, il faut qu'on aille le chercher.
Ouais.
Et nous allons aller le chercher avec grandeur pour lui donner, comme a dit le président, une sépulture digne de son rang. C'est le Congo qui revient au Congo. Depuis la mort de Lumumba, depuis que ses restes sont retenus en Belgique depuis 61 ans, Lumumba est captif en Belgique depuis 61 ans. Il faut que l'Afrique devienne africaphone, que l'Afrique parle le même langage. Il ne s'agit pas simplement de parler Yoruba, Tchuluba, Lingala. Non, c'est de parler africaphone, la langue de la vision, la langue du panafricanisme, la langue qui faisait qu'un Nkrumah comprenait Lumumba, Lumumba pouvait comprendre Sékou Touré et Sankara comprenait Rawlings. C'est ça le langage africaphone, le langage de la dignité. Ce qui manque à beaucoup de nos chefs africains, c'est la dignité. La dignité, la stature de la dignité. Et ça, il faut être africaphone pour le comprendre. Mais le temps viendra. Le soleil ne se couche pas. C'est l'homme qui s'éloigne de la lumière.
Baby Madison est là pour vous dire ce qu'il pense. Écoutez.
Hey friends, it's Baby Madison. I have great news for you. I received my very first award as a peace activist for infants and children's rights around the world. The world has deteriorated, that's for sure. The working class protests and complains, but the world stands by and does nothing. But not only have I heard your cries, but I have made them mine because your pain is my pain too. I want to make my smile your smile, and my joy your joy. And all this is going to be made possible with my label, Baby Madison. Keep in mind that there are countless abuses of minors in foster care, and I have a duty to act to help these children. Today, I am pleased to be recognized for my actions by A.l.M magazine with an award that honors me and many other influential people. I thank A.l.M again for this wonderful 2021 award. Take good care of yourselves.
Salut Andy, salut Impact. Je vous souhaite un excellent anniversaire. Je vous remercie d'avoir fait un reportage concernant ma mère et sa mémoire. Je vous parle ici de son ancienne demeure, celle où elle a résidé avant-guerre dans les années folles. Voilà, de cette demeure, je vous dis à tous très bonne soirée et bonne chance à l'avenir avec les idéaux de fraternité universelle que ma mère prônait. Au revoir à tous.
So I think it absolutely is a historical self-division taking place in the Black community. A lot of the ways that people of African descent in the Americas talk about their skin color is in reference to whiteness. This is a thing that comes from a history of colonialism and slavery. So when we hear these things, yes, it can be just a description, but for many, many years in the United States, it's been a marker of social status where lighter-skinned African-American, lighter-skinned Black people were seen as, closer to whiteness, more deserving, and having a higher status within this country. I think I want to start by saying that there is a lot of solidarity already within the Black community, but I do think it requires an open conversation. One, to know that we are having these distinctions and divisions, and to ask ourselves, I think really every person, every Black person should ask themselves, if I am in conflict with other Black people, does that conflict serve me and my community, or does it serve someone who would rather keep my community down? Because there are a number of pressing issues. You think about wages, incarceration, employment discrimination. All of these are issues that face the African-American community. And I think we have to ask ourselves, if I am in conflict with another person of African descent, and I think that really covers the whole of what we call the diaspora. Is that conflict productive, or could I be working with this person to achieve another goal? I'll just throw in, for example, a lot of the big movers and shakers in African-American history are not actually originally from the United States. When we think of, for example, Franz Fanon, when we think of, for example, Marcus Garvey, a number of important African-American thought leaders have come from outside the United States itself. And there is, I think, a strong thread of Blackness that links our goals together. I think that we should talk about how the leadership in the Black community is not accorded the respect that it's due. I think there are a number of important Black leaders rising across the country today. And I think that there's a question of, are we, coming back to the unity question, are we working with them when they appear, or are we too busy tearing each other down to work together? Lancaster's businesses, even with the pandemic, are doing very well. Millions of dollars are coming in to this community. We have built new hotels, new restaurants, et cetera, but there are still thousands of people in this city who do not benefit from all of that new money coming in. Now, their city is used by these people and these entities to make money, but that wealth does not return to them. And so that's going to be my focus over the next 4 years, is returning the wealth to the people of Lancaster, building home ownership and capital ownership in Black and brown, and here by brown, I mean Latino community. So when we have those assets, I think, when we have that control and that power, I think we're actually less likely to be in conflict. So much of the conflict in the African-American community is because maybe we have this little piece, and everybody wants their little piece of the piece. When we have the whole, when we are really working and living in the amount of power that we could have, then we know that there's enough for all of us, and we can work to achieve what it is that we deserve.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Aboussana Mikibondo et je suis d'origine congolaise de la RDC. Et j'ai été nominée en 2021 par A.l.M Impact comme une femme influente, dû à mon élection en 2018 en tant que députée au Parlement des écoles ici à Portland, Maine. Je suis devant l'océan Atlantique. Pourquoi? Parce que cela me reflète de l'autre côté de l'océan qui est mon continent africain et mon pays d'origine. En tant qu'immigrante, j'ai combattu le véritable combat sur la justice sociale et sur l'émancipation de la femme. Et ce prix, je le dédie à ma famille et à toutes les femmes immigrantes en général et la femme congolaise en particulier, pour nous dire que tout est possible sous le soleil des États-Unis et que nous devons absolument valoriser notre valeur intrinsèque pour nos générations à venir. C'est avec vraiment un grand plaisir et que le Seigneur bénisse A.l.M Impact. Merci.
Dear Afro Impact, thank you so much for the honor of your recognition for not only myself, but the communities that I represent, their stories and their struggles. Thank you as well for 11 years of covering the most important events and ideas of our past decade, and for your continual and consistent reporting of the truth and of what matters to our communities.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Arsène Mwamba. Je suis congolais, habitant le Canada. C'est avec un grand plaisir, à travers cette vidéo, que je viens accepter la nomination, ou du moins la célébration qui m'a été proposée par l'A.l.M Impact Magazine dans son édition du 2021.
Greetings. Salut. Jambo. My name is Zeke Botokuma. I am an associate professor of philosophy at Morgan State University, Baltimore, Maryland. I am also the founder and president of Polyglots in Action for Diversity Incorporated, Polyglotte en Action pour la Diversité. I have had the opportunity to know and appreciate the wonderful job done by Andy Carala and his team. For that reason, I am humbled and delighted to accept the invitation to be among the honorees of A.l.M Impact Magazine. It's my belief that its work constitutes a good and beautiful African presence, not only in the US, but also in the whole world. Thanks. Merci. Asante sana. Botondi.
Merci Impact de m'avoir nommé pour le rôle que je joue dans la représentativité de l'Afrique dans le cinéma. Je suis très honorée et je l'accepte.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Evelyn Kessler, founder and executive director of International Child Advancement, also known as ICA. I'm very grateful to A.L.M Magazine for this recognition, acknowledging the work that we do, empowering underprivileged children in the Democratic Republic of Congo, our mission being to empower them to become self-sufficient through education, vocational training, and mentoring. Now, we couldn't accomplish this work without our supporters, local and international. The work that we do is super important, helping these young individuals to advance to a future of opportunities, advance to a future of self-sufficiency, and advance to a future where they will become leaders, business owners, and, employees and individuals who will contribute to their society and empower others along the way. So it really means a great deal to receive this recognition. We're extremely grateful. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate it.
Je m'appelle Francine Lobo, présidente et initiatrice de l'organisation non gouvernementale dénommée Congolese Women for Peace, qui a pour mission de faire des femmes de vecteurs de changement et leur permettant de construire des communautés épanouies. C'est un réel plaisir d'être célébré aujourd'hui parmi tant d'autres personnalités et organisations qui posent des actes d'impact dans le monde. Merci donc à A.L.M Magazine pour cette reconnaissance et considération. Je dédie donc ce prix à toutes ces femmes rurales qui se lèvent chaque matin pour l'épanouissement de leur maison, de leur communauté et de la République démocratique du Congo, et prêtes à projeter la République démocratique du Congo dans un futur meilleur. Je vous remercie.
Ce qui me tient particulièrement à cœur, c'est la cause des femmes. On se rend compte qu'il y a des violences un petit peu dans tous les pays. Je veux dire, c'est à la fois le continent africain, mais c'est aussi, c'est partout que ça existe. Et ce qu'on souhaiterait, c'est que ces violences disparaissent et qu'un jour, on n'ait plus véritablement besoin de mettre les femmes en avant, que ça se fasse vraiment le plus naturellement du monde. Mais je pense que les femmes ont besoin aussi c'est une façon de communiquer, de s'aider les unes les autres aussi. Ouais. Donc, c'est de continuer, en tout cas, de continuer ce travail-là.
Bonjour à tous. Je remercie A.l.M Magazine pour cette nomination parmi les personnalités marquantes et influentes à travers leurs actions et contributions intellectuelles. J'avoue être encore aujourd'hui à court de mots pour vous exprimer ma gratitude ainsi que ma surprise pour cette nomination. C'est une très belle marque de reconnaissance à laquelle je suis vraiment sensible et très touché. Être ainsi mis en avant fait chaud au cœur et cela incite également à rester humble. Cette nomination me conforte dans la voie que j'ai choisie. Merci à vous.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Franck Alimi, je suis photographe reporter depuis plus de 33 ans. Je fais souvent entre l'Europe et l'Afrique, mais je suis plus souvent en Afrique pour des reportages. Je remercie Andy Kalala, directeur d'Afrique Impact Magazine, TV comme radio. Je suis très heureux de participer à cette grande manifestation d'Afrique Impact Magazine Award le samedi 18 décembre à Atlanta. Merci de votre attention. Que Dieu vous bénisse.
Oui, je suis ravi d'être sélectionné parmi les lauréats de ces magazines formidables et merveilleux Afrique Impact. Un magazine avec lequel j'ai collaboré bientôt 10 ans. Je suis très ravi de travailler avec Andy Kalala, son fondateur. Grâce à sa vision, ces magazines impactent réellement les Africains, la vie des Africains et tout ce qu'ils font pour l'Afrique, quelque chose de merveilleux. Et nous pensons que ces magazines doivent aller de l'avant et doivent réussir à aller de succès en succès pour que le message, la vision de son fondateur puisse impacter l'Afrique et que l'Afrique ait un développement harmonieux. Merci beaucoup.
Ça a été un plaisir d'avoir pris de votre temps pour suivre cet événement à partir de vos maisons. Merci. Soyez l'année prochaine les récipients de cet événement. Thank you very much for your time that you put aside to watch this event from your living rooms. We want you to be the next recipients of this event. Thank you.